Yeah, it's the same old crap in the news. Oh, yeah. You shit on Tulsi Gabbard, and I'm gonna have a flashback of you. I'm thinking about what you said now. I'm trying to get inside your head. Maybe you just can't tell. Oh, well, I guess we're gonna get your pay on election day. Yeah. This is Jimmy Reefer Cake, allthehypocrisy.com. Jimmy Reefer Cake live stream. Hello. Loud and clear, hopefully. I'm going to do a quick segment here on the flashback I had of a recent episode. I can't even begin to understand what's inside people's heads. But what I do understand is when people are kind of brainwashed. And it hurts me to think about how easy it is for someone to be brainwashed. Now, oh no, an error occurred. It's my live stream. Hello. Let me make sure that the stream is still going. Of course, I'm trying to tune in here to see if there are any people with questions or comments. I'm talking about Mindy. That's who I'm talking about. She called in to the Majority Report, and I had a flashback because it's bad enough what I've seen about Michael Brooks. The way I've described his limitations, categorical thinking, limited thinking, inability to recognize strategy and how to win, boxed in. So Mindy calls in the same show, and I just want to just make a point that Mindy, she's supporting Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, but she's afraid to say it almost. It's like Kamala Harris, Joe Biden is basically like picking Clinton again, isn't it? So watch and learn. I'll say this, and maybe Mindy doesn't like Tulsi for no good reason. Like, Mindy had to say that the caller from Indiana, who is one of the best callers I've heard in a while, I think it was Indiana, her name was Esha, and it's a different Esha from the Esha that we know on Twitter, by the way, quite certain. And that caller really posed just some very simple, good questions, made some good points about how if you even go back to this violence between this kind of Islamic Hindu violence, it went both ways. Oh, man. I might be having technical difficulties this morning. Maybe that's just with the viewing and the stream is still working. So nothing. Michael started talking about, Brooksy started talking about how people were ripping the uteruses out of, like, he went into this very reminiscent of, you remember in the run up to the Desert Storm, maybe, when the girl was saying they took the not embryos, the infants out of the incubators and they throw them on the floor. That's what you have to, that lady was saying, that girl was saying, we're having playback errors, but perhaps still going. On the broadcast, it looks like it's going. Maybe it's just playback on my end, but that's how I look at the chat. So this could be totally fucked right now. All right. So my point is, the caller was very reasonable, and Michael turned into a frantic propagandist artist, like propaganda artist saying, "Oh my God, they cut the uteruses out of the Islam women." So he's trying to do the thing where you say how horribly evil someone is, and then just exacerbate that, just like throwing the infants from the incubators onto the floors, just to get more hyper and more aggressive. Ultimately, to what end? To cause more tensions, basically, to not just and I was thinking about it. If somebody, it's very non-sympathetic of Michael to not recognize the someone of Indian heritage, Hindu heritage, like Tulsi would have grown up in a environment that maybe was part of a tension between the Hindu and the Islamic people there. I looked at the comments of some of my videos here, and for example, there's a lot of her focusing, like Michael said, about how she's anti-Islam and all this stuff. Like she's a real crazy Islam hater. Well, you could listen to what she said. My view is that, like, if you're in the military and that's a term they use, then you've grown up using that term. If you're from a Hindu, Indian background and you've had history of conflict with Islam, you see it as a fundamentalist Islam thing, because that's even something she had in the Hindu history. And the thing is, like, Mindy probably doesn't care about any of this, do you, Mindy? You just, like, I think that Mindy just wants to get the most winnable figure. And that's why I'm trying to say to Mindy, Tulsi is very winnable. You want someone to beat Trump, Tulsi has a better chance. In my opinion, maybe that's not. Maybe we could talk about it, but it doesn't mean you smear her down the way that they do on the Majority Report, right? As if you couldn't smear Joe Biden and Kamala Harris down if you wanted to. Of course you can, but they don't really choose to do that. They just choose to smear Tulsi down. And while Tulsi's done amazing positive things in the recent current events currently doing, they choose to smear her. And then people like Mindy get a negative connotation on Tulsi, but maybe Mindy would be really open to it if she saw the electability argument, because that's, I think, what Mindy cares about. She just wants to beat Trump. Now, the reason Tulsi can beat Trump is the anti-war game of chicken that Trump is playing. He will do things to make himself appear anti-war while still carrying out atrocities. But if you can get out of some countries, then you can still keep the war machine brewing. Even if you just have like 4 or 5. But of course, I've seen that we're actually in more countries than 7. If you look at it, so it's really just about like open wars, maybe. But I think that some of my friends on Twitter were saying that we are in many, many, many countries in Africa, especially, where it is an armed, violent possibility, but maybe it's just not as huge of a conflict. And we're not dropping as many bombs. For some reason, we're in 7 wars right now. That's what they counted. But we don't even know, to be honest, do we? But I think what people do know is they want a candidate who's got some anti-war chops, something in the books. So a lot of stuff on her record that actually shows real stuff. She's got the marijuana. She's a big, I can see, just go, I don't know what the fuck, Mindy. I mean, if you think that the old, like, is going to help, like, old people who are establishment, make it more electable, that's in your old person bubble. And also your bubble of rich people, I suppose, Mindy. The rich old people are going to love Biden, and they love anyone who doesn't rock the boat. And Tulsi is intent on rocking the boat. Me, I was the biggest Obama. Going back in the songs I've done, I was the biggest Obama supporter ever. And like, I am now publishing and putting all these songs up on my Patreon. You got Jimmy Reefer Cake there. And also go to Twitter to check it out. I'm trying to post them there as well. All the songs are going through the whole history of the fucking thing. And I'm going to play one of them now because my guitar is tuned. day. So this was, like I'm saying, I was a hugest Obama fan. Like, definitely soured on it during his second term. Call your mama, 'cause Obama got Osama, and I'm celebrating with some marijuana. Smoke a joint, Special Operations Command found Osama's crib in Pakistan. I'm gonna call your mama, 'cause Obama got Osama. 2 bullets in the head, and there ain't no drama. But I got myself a boy who's only 7. I had to tell him the whole story of 9/11. How Obama got Osama singing, yes we can. Prove that W was a dummy and Obama the man. And my boy said, so what? And he shook his head. He said, isn't that just another person dead? So call your mama, don't be hating. It's Mother's Day. You gotta be celebrating. Take care of all mankind. To hell with revenge. This is Jimmy Reefer Cake. I'm Majority, not FM. Yes, that song and many others will be available and posted on my Patreon and shared out through the world. And you can tell me, is this song, when I publish on Spotify, iTunes, and I make my little CD, sending out the CD to my patrons, is this song really deserving to be on the CD? And should it be published? That, of course, is undoubtedly, it's on. That's money. And in the actual version, you'll hear it's recorded. It's got my little boy's voice on there. So he goes, so what? Isn't that just another person dead? And it's pretty funny. That's what he said at that moment. And I started to double think myself as the hypocrisy of all of this celebration over killing somebody. It's pretty gross. And I also kind of had this, but my main sensation at the time was this feeling that, like, all of the time they were saying, which we just got to get Osama bin Laden. And it was almost like they weren't getting him to keep the boogeyman alive. And then I felt like if we got him, it would show we could chill out. We got him. We don't have to keep this madness going. But unfortunately, everything kept accelerating. Obama added 3 wars from Bush's 4. And I do not accept that, especially while having this much time to look back on it. I loved Obama. I was caught up in it. I loved it. I loved him. All right, Mindy loves Obama too, I'm sure. And maybe we got to just accept the fact that a lot of that fire has been, that well's been poisoned. That well's been poisoned. So if you're thinking staying on that wagon, you got to realize Trump can use a lot of angles. You're going to be better off, in my opinion, going with a Tulsi, or a Bernie. I was thinking a Tulsi Bernie. I'm going to put Tulsi at the top of the ticket, and Bernie can be the VP. Sounds kind of weird, but that's the way I'm going to do it. Yeah. Oh my goodness. What is happening? Even Mindy. How should go? Oh my goodness. What is happening? Even Mindy shits on Tulsi. What's the reason? It's certainly nothing Michael said, 'cause Brooksy has got a problem with Tulsi. Yeah. Even Mindy shits on Tulsi, sympathetic caller. Now I sing my song in protest. Maybe I should call the Majority Report. I would give them my clever retorts. But they don't give a shit what Jimmy Reef Cake says. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about me. They don't give a shit until they lose the election to Trump. And then they're paralyzed in their self-amazement at how could they be so wrong. Could listen to the Reefer Cake song. Reefer Cake song. Listen to the Reefer Cake song. You gotta listen to the Reefer Cake song and realize you were wrong. Hey, there we go. Some comments come in. It's the singing that brings the comments. Thank you. I should call, and yet I probably won't because I can't stand to sit on hold. And then when you finally get on, Louis Nibla, I love you. Thanks, buddy. See, yeah, what happens is you get on hold, and then, you know, I obviously have an inflated sense of myself, my worth on the show, feeling I deserve finally being on hold to be able to speak without getting interrupted and then hung up on when they start to get scared that I'm going to make a good point. And of course, time is always very short. But yeah, what happens is if I'm on hold a lot, I'll start to, I don't know, it's a blood pressure thing. Got to watch the blood pressure. But no, I'm kind of kidding. I should call. No, if I can, maybe I will. But you hear the points here, and maybe you should call. I like it when other people call it. That person did. Made really nice points and put Brooksy into a very, very scaredy placey for Brooksy. He was scared. He started to have to talk about people cutting uteruses out. I mean, when you go to the uterus cutout, you're kind of pushing it, bub. You're doing that thing where they take the infant out of the incubator and throw it on the floor. So that was weak, and that was a very scared move, a very frightened man. Brooksy is frightened because he knows that eventually what happens when Tulsi is president, then he's gonna, I don't know, when Tulsi actually becomes one of the big candidates, I can't wait to see what Brooksy's gonna say. And Sammy too. I mean, the Democrats always are okay, right? And now we got one who's anti-war, right? Or no, well, she supports drones. That they're trying to do this attack on her for supporting drones. She supports drones, don't you know? She's very aggressive. She wants to kill all the Islamis. Yes. There's somebody who commented on one of these videos who was like, just tripping. I mean, they're like, so basically said she was a Nazi. I don't want to switch my thing here, but check out my other videos on Tulsi. I think it's becoming I'm zoning in. I'm zoning in on what's necessary. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. In the comments from Sam Cedar. Thank you, Sammy. You should call. He's telling me to call. And Luis, God bless you. Have an awesome day. Smoke them if you got them. And I'm trying to learn about strains and reefers. Finally, I don't want to forget to say the Tales of Scrody McReefer Cake. That's going to be something. It's going to blow your minds if you choose to hear the tales of Scrody. Scrody's battle with Town Hall in the town of Fuxton, Maine. It's a roller coaster ride of historical fiction. Get ready for that, and that's for patrons only. I've given a slight preview, and I'll give more previews, and maybe eventually I'll release it. But it's very sensitive information. Tales of Scrody McReefer Cake. Scrody McReefer Cake. Say it right. All right, everybody. I'm gonna play let's just get out of here with thank you so much. It's time. Reefer Cake is gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get out of here. But I'm gonna, you guys check it out. I'm gonna put a picture of my ducks up. Chris Matthews has something to say pretty soon. So stay tuned and peace.